Aloha and good evening if you're online. Thanks for joining us. It is 7:05 on Wednesday, August 19th, and this is the Libertarian Party of Hawaii Executive Committee. We are calling this meeting to order. Madam Secretary, if you could do the roll call, please.
Nicholas Zehr.
Here.
I'm Abbra Green. I'm here. And then Austin Martin.
Present. We have two members not present with us currently. That would be Selena Monge and Ken Spolin. Hopefully they'll be joining us soon, but we do have quorum, so we can proceed. All right. First order of business is approving the minutes, which includes the records of email ballots from in between meetings. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Discussion or amendments? All right, hearing none, I'll move us to the question. Is there any objection to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are adopted. Next on the item of business will be the agenda. Is there any discussion on the agenda? All right, hearing none, I'll move us to a vote. Is there any objection to the agenda? All right, hearing none, the agenda is hereby adopted. All right. Moving forward, we have, I apologize, I'm trying to get my screen to cooperate here. A motion by Abbra Green. Abbra, if you'd like to move your motion.
Chair, I think we have the reports first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that. Wow, I was looking at new business, unfinished business. Cool. Well, first of all, we'll do the chair's report. We're moving along pretty well. There is a lot of development work going on that has been building infrastructure that will hopefully put us into a new JFC and really transform our fundraising profile. We are really excited about that, and that is something that we will be continuing to work on. With the LNC, the Judicial Committee came back with a decision unanimously in favor of upholding the disaffiliation of New Hampshire, which should surprise no one because they were not elected, and they definitely had this in mind. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on, but thankfully there's a lot of reasons to be a little bit white-pilled that things are not going to stay sucky. There are a lot of efforts currently underway to change the way that the Libertarian Party is postured, which is really, really good. Major coalition building efforts underway, and there's a lot of excitement. I'm happy to answer any questions. We'll otherwise conclude my chair report. We are getting ready for our business convention, and I don't think there's any remarkable news I have to report for that or on the elections that isn't already on the agenda. So, any questions? All right, hearing none, we will move on. Mr. Treasurer, you have the floor, sir.
Aloha. I have a brief treasury report. So balances increased in our CSC account as we receive more of our subscriptions coming in August, considering the convention last year. August is a heavy month. We should actually be seeing significant more subscription amounts coming in towards the end of the month. FEC stayed the same. PayPal just transferred $91 over to the CSC account. Overall net increase, very low operating expenses. Most recent was a plus for PayPal incoming. For reporting, we are current and complete for the CSC and FEC reports. I have about a month and a half till my next FEC report is due, which super low threat. It should be the same. That is probably due to change once we get JFC set up again. The next CSC report is due at the end of this month. There's like a kind of a brief interim reporting, about a 2-week span. So I'm going to have that knocked out. And that concludes my treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Excellent. All right. Moving forward, we have the motion by Abbra Green. Abbra, if you'd like to speak, or if you'd like to introduce your motion, get a second, and then I'll open up discussion.
Yes, this is just a budget for the printing costs, plus some. I looked online for Office Depot. It could run us around a little over $400 this year, according to the online prices. I'm convinced if I go in person, though, I feel like we got a much better deal last year, unless they've just really gone up. But just to cover our bases on that. And then I also might just end up buying some ink and printing it at home if it's really that bad, because that just seems like a lot to me. But and then I know that like last year we did the last minute electronics purchases and stuff like that. So I just wanted to try to get ahead of that and have a kind of a cutoff cap for any remaining expenses that might be unforeseen.
Okay, excellent. Is there a second? Going once. I'll second it.
Oh, yep.
Oh, you can have it. No worries.
Sure, I'll second.
Cool. All right, discussion.
Okay. Question I had, how like how's the projected page count we're looking at versus last year, just out of curiosity?
It's I think with the full reports we went a little over last year's, but we also shrunk down the bylaws by like 4 pages, 5 pages, I believe. So it's I would guess like 15 pages, 20 pages more maybe.
Okay. Are there any slides that we need to, or do you think we need to put a slideshow together for this as we go through the reviews? If we do, might also recommend, like, we could print out slide decks as well. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but it's a thought.
I was planning on just doing a screen share like we did in the bylaws committee, except it'll be up on the screen. So if people want to pull up like specific articles and like piece out the motions that way, then we can adapt for that and still have everybody kind of be on the same page is what I was thinking.
Okay. And then last question I had was equipment. Do we still have all the same equipment from last year? Or is
We
there anything new?
we're hoping to, but we still need to get in touch with Kevin Hill.
Okay.
He used mostly his stuff last year.
Yep.
Sweet.
If not, we'll try to see what we can get on a budget. I think the amount provided here hopefully will be enough to stretch that we won't need to come back even if we do need to get some equipment. So I think it's a comfortable amount.
If we have to shrink down like what we got from him down to like only essentials, I think we would want like an extra mic. But
Yeah.
I think last year we were also really efficient whenever the emergency cost came up day of. We just did that like in person on the spot vote and knocked it out. That was really good.
Yeah. That was yep. I think we can be responsive and make it happen. All right. Cool. All right, is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'll move us to a vote. Is there any objection to this motion as presented? Hearing none, the motion is adopted without objection. All right. Excellent. We'll move on to the LFF overview. The problem is that we only have one director here that would be likely to cast a vote on this. So we may need to just parlay this, and it would be better to have other directors here to be able to talk about it.
Do we want to do the presentation anyway and just share it with everybody that way, or would you rather just wait till we have the full crew?
Sonia, do you care either way? She may not be by her microphone right now. That's okay.
Oh,
I
no,
can
I'm
give you
here.
just.
I,
Oh,
I,
right on.
I don't care either way, but I would think that having more people present is probably best.
Yep. I think that's generally good. I'll say a couple words about it since it's just a discussion item. The LFF is a new JFC that we are putting together that will allow state parties to fundraise together on the national level. And we have some strategies that will attract donors that normally wouldn't donate to the LP. And it requires state parties that are intelligent and able to execute a strategy together about how to make that value available to donors. It's a really exciting program. Um, and no, Bryce, just to answer your question in the chat, Sonia is not on the board now, but she is helping with the LFF and she was going to help me present tonight. But since we're a few board members short, we'd rather wait and make sure that we get their participation. If it needs to go to an email vote, it can. I guess this is recorded. You know what? We can have them catch the presentation by recording. Is there any objection to that, you guys? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to assume that we're good and move forward. Cool. So LFF, Abbra, if you need to give Sonia co-host so she can screen share, oh wow, cool. There it is. All right, cool. Okay, so the Liberty Focus Fund. A standing joint fundraising pipeline for Libertarian state party federal committees. What we're able to do is really groundbreaking, and I'm excited to share it with you. You can go ahead and forward to the next slide. Sorry, guys, I know it's old school or little, different slides here, but that's okay. They literally slide. And Abra, I don't know if I have the same view. Oh, there it is. I just did not have it full screen. Sorry. We raise funds from a donor market. You guys can read this, which state committees cannot otherwise reach. Proceeds go to every participating committee. Each committee gets to keep a portion of its own operation. The rest is forwarded to another focus strategy participant, according to your board's preferences. This mechanic facilitates the focusing strategy. Likewise, each committee has the opportunity to become a focus destination. What does this mean? When you join onto the LFF, you're going to get payments from donors that are donating to the whole group of state parties. We operate off of a shared strategy, right? And we're going to be forwarding a large portion of what we get to other state parties where they have spending opportunities like federal races, where they can dump money into those things to build the movement, to intentionally inflict directional pressure, and to make a splash, right? Each state party will have a significant budget to be able to give to other state parties that have these opportunities. Not every state, for instance, Hawaii, this cycle, we do not have a federal candidate on the ballot, right? So we probably wouldn't be the first choice for a PSC. We could do an issue campaign, and if states wanted to support it, they could, right? But most likely, we will be supporting and contributing to other states that have strong candidates in winnable races that are on the federal level, right? So each state gets to keep a share, and each state also forwards a significant portion of its share to other states. This is part of the focusing strategy, and it's what allows it to be possible for lots of resources to be concentrated in a small district. So you keep a share of what comes to you, the rest moves to a focus destination your board selects. When your state is the focus, it goes to your affiliate. Each contribution reaches every participating committee at once, divided equally. Any questions about this mechanic? We can keep going. I'm happy to answer any that you got. Just feel free to raise your hand, actually. Um, you know what? Let me get through the slides and I'll take questions at the end. Maybe you just write them down. Abra, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. Sonia, do you want to read these or say anything about that before I go forward?
You can go ahead. I can jump in when ready.
Cool. All right. This is cool because something has just happened in the last 7 weeks or so that really changes the landscape. On June 30th, the Supreme Court removed the cap on what party committees can spend in coordination with its own candidates. NRSC versus FEC struck the coordinated party expenditure limits of 52 USC 31160. That's the law that said you are limited on how much coordinated spending you can do. You can't talk to your candidate if you're going to buy ads for them. It has to be uncoordinated, right? You can't ask the campaign what they want or need, right? So that's changed, and as a First Amendment right that we have. So kind of cool. The ruling changed how committees can spend on campaigns, particularly state parties. State party spending for its own candidates is no longer limited by law. This opens new opportunities for focused funds to deliver decisive support in key races through state parties that share strategy. No candidate is a participant nor receives any proceeds. Every participant in the LFF is a Libertarian Party affiliate. The money goes to LP affiliates only. So this is important. What happens after you get your money is your decision as a board. And I'm speaking with in the third person partly because I'm interested in this, just FYI. I won't be able to vote on these kinds of decisions or really any of this because it would be improper. So this is something that you guys will be able to take the lead on. I'm happy to give you some strategic advice, but this will be a place where the board will definitely have to, make some of its own calls internally. Um, but yeah, the money here goes to Libertarian Party affiliates, and the affiliates choose how to spend it. And it's the strategy that we're selling to donors and that kind of cooperation around a shared ideology and capability. And we'll get into that more on the next slide. Cool. Liberty Focus Fund provides a ready-to-use open and go format that simplifies affiliate fundraising and strategy. Our aim is to provide predictable monthly funding, multi-cycle strategy, shared training and tools, and institutional knowledge. We will help you grow your donor file, our donor file. We will be sharing, any information that is necessary for your reporting duty to the FEC, making it turnkey, and providing a way for sustainable funding to come in. And we'll kind of get a little bit on what that looks like on a future slide. Step one, federal law permits an individual to give $10,000 per calendar year to each state party committee. LFF allows affiliates to pool their limits, filling each committee's headroom with a single check. 2, the contributions are divided in equal shares among the committees on the register when the money arrives. 3, compliance, reporting, and settlement are administered centrally by the LFF. You receive your contributor data in reporting ready form ahead of every filing deadline. So we make this as easy as possible by providing turnkey FEC ready filing information. So it should make it very lightweight as far as the burden on your board. We can move to the next slide. All right, this is part of what I'm really excited about. Libertarian votes have the power to decide races. No other organization in American politics can apply pressure in both directions. This is part of where our real ability comes from, to be able to make this effective and make this a value. Um, On average, the Libertarian bloc runs 1.5 to 5% of the vote. Most competitive federal races are decided inside of a swing about 6%. The Libertarian bloc is a quarter of the margin. At 5%, it is the margin. This is really significant. That means libertarians can be decisive. Against a Democratic incumbent, the message that peels away their voters may be money in politics, corporate capture, civil liberties, and LP environmental solutions. If we wanted to peel red votes, we would talk about constitutional carry, limited government, held to the Constitution, and parental rights. These are all things that, we can decide which voting blocks our candidates and our federal issue activism targets. Not only does it allow us to grow our movement intelligently and carefully by selecting issues and talking points that don't simply invite in everybody, but increase our voting block, right, without diluting our principles, running good campaigns. We can put pressure on a district, which allows us to concentrate funds and spending into an area where that directional pressure might be very valuable to people who normally would not donate to the LP. Which direction a libertarian campaign draws from depends on which positions are funded and where. Participants who share a strategic orientation have the option to join a directional fund alongside the base LFF neutral fund, marketed respectively for left or right donors. So we have a sub-fund that lets us market more cleanly to lefties, and we have a sub-fund that lets us market more cleanly to right-leaning donors, right? And if they want to try to encourage the Libertarian Party's growth in an area where they think it's going to benefit them, it gives them a way to give to the party that kind of keeps their name clean of the party itself, right? And on the other hand, it also gives libertarians a way to take this money without getting in an entangling, potentially dangerous donor relationship with someone who's not really aligned with us, right? So this creates a cool way for us to harness the spoiler effect and to actually leverage that for federal fundraising purposes. We can move to the next slide. All right, empowering candidates and affiliates. Imagine a district in your state where a libertarian is on the ballot in a race decided by 4% or less. Your committee can spend in coordination with that campaign. No ceiling on the amount. Use the funds for canvassing, organizers, media campaigns tailored to the message. You decide where libertarian votes are decisive and how you grow your movement. When November comes and the campaign ends, your committee still holds the experience, the investments, and data, allowing us to do it again somewhere else, with everyone from the previous campaign now behind it. This snowballs. The movement that we build, the infrastructure that we buy and build, is going to last for more than just a cycle, especially if the party is doing the spending. Coordinated with the campaign, sure. But also, a lot of this will go into party building, not just campaign spending. So it's up to the parties to do it. Of course, they're going to do it in a way that has a general growth to the whole organization and not just to a candidate. But what if our state doesn't support certain candidates, you might ask? You choose where your forward shares goes, every settlement. You maintain the same judgment your board already exercises about which candidates in your own state deserve support. So you don't have to support a candidate that you don't like in some other state. You can send your forward share to a different participant. So that is a really nice dynamic that opens up. States are able to vote with their dollars as to which strategies, which campaigns, and which movement growth tactics are worth funding. How does this build our party? An example here would be recruiting, training, and equipping a canvas team that builds infrastructure that works for your legislative races next year. The pipeline gives your members, donors, donors, and local movers the opportunity to have a war chest that will provide benefits beyond the next cycle's fight. This can do so much more than one-time advertising spends. What if we have no federal candidate? Which is our situation here in Hawaii. The pipeline funds you monthly either way. LP activism can still change the arithmetic of a close district. Permanent precinct organization replaces a mailing list. ballot access stops eating your budget monthly cycle, every cycle. That may not be our problem, but a lot of states struggle with that. We can move on to the next slide. Here's a roadmap, a simple, transparent outline on how the money flows through the Liberty Focused Fund pipeline. We get a donation. Gross proceeds arrive in a dedicated joint account held by the Liberty Focused Fund. First, the LFF share is deducted. That's what it costs for us to maintain things. 20% for administration, compliance, cover accounting, fundraising, technology, and staff. Division. The remainder is divided equally among participating committees, adjusted only where a donor's limit requires. Your share, your net share, arrives in your federal account monthly. You keep your portion and forward the rest as your board directs. Through the process, your board keeps control, and joining this changes absolutely nothing about how your committee is governed. The goal here is to put state parties in the driver's seat. You can continue. I think that's the end. Reap the rewards. The affiliates pursuing this strategy are solving the same problems at the same time. Take control of your state party's impact. Put a jetpack on your candidates. Take the lead on issues that affect your race. Decide who wins and use the leverage. Pass a resolution authorizing your chair or treasurer to execute the accession. This is a really cool program, you guys, that we're building, and a lot will rest on our ability to, sell not just, oh, what could be, or look what state parties could spend money on. Donors oftentimes know that that's not what the LP spends their money on. They do things like suing former chairs, right? So, in order for this to be credible, we have to have state parties that legitimately rock, that can produce results, that can show things like what the LPHI has done to donors and say, look, this is what we can do. This is how we can do it. And here's the proof of concept that we have the capacity to actually pull it off, right? Those are things that I'm going to be taking to them. We have a lawyer currently reviewing the contract. He's an excellent expert in FEC law and will be giving us kind of the final, you know, prognosis on whether or not anything needs any final changes. But it looks like we're set to probably launch this as soon as next week. So it's a really wonderful opportunity. I wanted to give you guys the chance. And if you're not here and you're watching this online or as a recording, and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me or to Sonia. We're happy to answer your questions. Happy to talk to you more about what this strategy looks like. Again, to sell it to donors, you have to be credible. So, that has limited us to being kind of invite only. We really want to look at the states that will do something effective and that have the opportunity to really make a difference for liberty. And hopefully this grows and expands and more states will catch on and start also being more competitive. But, at the end of the day, this changes the game for libertarians. It makes it possible to have competitive spending in a single geographical district with the R's and the D's, or it allows us to put a ton of directional pressure that peels votes from one side or another intentionally by doing nothing more than supporting great libertarian candidates, principles, and parties. So that kind of concludes my little presentation spiel there. And I want to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions about this.
Hey, Austin, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So I love this idea. My question is, I don't know how far you've broadcasted this yet, but have you spoken with anyone who's provided any pushback? And if yes, what type of pushback? Did they have anything constructive?
So far, I haven't really gotten any negative pushback. The only question I've gotten from some boards or board members have asked whether or not the LNC would be likely to punish states who are cooperating, mainly just because of me. um, and they're quite vindictive. I've assured them that we will, bring in at least. We're not. It's not a factional thing. It's a piece of infrastructure. It's a money pipeline. Um, you know, I don't think it would be a good strategy. We have too many states already interested, but I suppose that's the one worry that I've had consistently raised is what if the LNC punishes us for being successful? And I said, well, if there's anything you want to go down for, this is probably it. So, if they
Yeah.
fire you for fundraising, yeah, then there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that was the crux of my question was if anyone at LNC knew about this and if they shot it down or just said they didn't like it just because it's you.
I'm gonna
Well,
let Sonia
so
answer that.
yeah. Yeah, so a lot of this was born by the LNC. So thank you, LNC. But Tyler Donkey
Mm.
had a really terrible motion that he brought forth where he wrote like 5 words and was like, let's go to El Paso in December and have a meeting. And I was like, why are we going to El Paso in December over a year before the 2028 convention? I was like, we should go to Kentucky. Like, we should go support Jeremy Todd. We should do a fundraiser. Oh, heck, while we're doing that, let's do another JFC, but let's make it around Jeremy Todd. And in investigating creating a JFC so we could present it to the board, Austin and I stumbled upon the Supreme Court ruling. I think he found it. I can't say I stumbled upon it. Austin did. But it was like a couple days after the Supreme Court ruling came out. And so it was like hot off the press. And Austin started really looking into it and being like, whoa, 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 what is this? And so having that information, we went and we brought our motion and everything to the LNC and we gave them the opportunity to join a JFC. We didn't even get an opportunity to talk about it because they immediately were like, no, no, JFC is bad. Evan expressed interest in possibly doing a JFC someday, but they shot down our entire motion. So Austin and I were like, well, okay, we're just going to continue doing it, and if the LNC wants to join it at some point, they're totally welcome to. We could work something out, but they don't hold the fund and they aren't participants, in the same way that they would before, right? But they can be a part of it for sure.
Yeah, they
Um,
totally lost their chance. We
yeah, so
presented it wasn't quite this idea. Like this really started to pick up right before the LNC meeting, and once we realized the potential of what we could build, we almost were hoping that they would shoot it down, and they did. So it was like, okay. And they didn't tell us no, you can't do this or anything like that. It's not like that kind of a shoot down. We offered this kind of
to
like they
do it
could
with
have
them,
led this. Yeah. And
right?
instead they were like, ew, no. So
Because our
what's great.
plan was for them to hold the fund, right? Because LNC can bring in, I think it's $45,000 per donor at a time, which is great. But then, in working on this more, we realized, oh, we don't actually need you guys, but they could always join in later if they really feel like it.
Yeah, it's open. It's open if they're interested. I think also to the point of what if they just engage in unfair retaliation against states involved. I don't think that's likely. I don't think they'll have any reason for it. Again, on paper, everything here is squeaky clean. It's libertarian candidates and libertarian parties that are getting supported by a pipeline. Um, we've resisted, like I think that capture surface is one of the big problems in the LP. So state parties that join this are not going to have a vote in, governance decisions. They are using a service that is being provided, and we want to keep the pipeline itself non-political. Um, so anyway, we have I think 5 states ready to go, and then we have another like 10 states that are interested and are trying to get to a state where they can join. In order to join, you have to be FEC compliant. So that's really the one big limiting factor is making sure that everybody is FEC compliant. And Abra, you don't actually need to note the number that are interested for the minutes. That would that would probably be a little too much information. No offense there. Just in case there are people on the LNC fuming about this, I suppose we can make it more difficult for them. They'll have to dig into the recording and get that. Um,
Did
anyway,
we
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
did we still need to try to put anything out or host a meeting kind of discussing how to get like up on the FEC account and use their finance app and stuff?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Um, question. So like I I was doing independent research to figure out how to get us FEC compliant to do FEC reporting. Was wondering if we're gonna need to put out any documents or maybe host a meeting for any interested parties. Um,
Yes, I didn't want
yeah,
to put upon you, but you're one of the more experienced treasurers in the entire LP on this, and anyone who there are other states that have similar situations to ours. So if you would be interested in doing like a treasurer workshop to help other states get compliant, we're actually already doing that. I think we had two of those today. Um, so it's definitely no, we had one of those today. One of the states was already good to go. But we definitely have multiple conversations ongoing with treasurers who are working on it. So having another resource would be great. If that's what you're offering, I'd love to do that.
sure, yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, cool. Any other discussion on this? Any questions? See, I see Bryce has his hand up. Bryce, as long as there's no objection from the members, you are recognized.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, first off, if I could get a copy of the PowerPoint slide that you just had, and if I were to present this to LPWI and potentially try to get Wisconsin in, would you or Sonia be willing to do the presentation for it?
Yeah, I worry that it would be a poison pill for us to do the presentation, but maybe not Sonia. Sonia, they like Sonia, right? Kind of.
I mean,
Like
Tyler might not, but who cares what he thinks?
that's okay. Yeah, Tyler's a non-starter. I'm willing. I think one thing that I'll be very frank with you. Much love, Sonia. Thank you for being here for the presentation.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
yeah, of course. And I just wanted to say one thing, right? Probably what Austin's about to say, but I think right now we really want to focus on a certain amount of states that are already compliant, get them locked and loaded, and then we have a certain amount of states that we are know that are in share the same sort of overall strategy. And I think once we have all of those basically set up and ready to go, then we could start bringing it to different boards and seeing if they are also interested, if you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean.
think the
Sure.
key on this.
I think Wisconsin is FEC compliant. I'll double check on that though, but I get
That would
that.
be a good thing to know. If they are, it might make sense. I don't mind. I was planning on letting, at least one or two token non-strategically oriented states in just to reduce the odds of a witch hunt. But so you know, it's not impossible, but the whole strategy relies on states that are effective, that have results that we can show to donors, that show that by giving these guys your money, they're not going to waste it. They're not going to squander it or just sit on it without good reason. They're going to actually engage in a strategy that accomplishes something. Um, that that's kind of the like in order for this to work, you have to have something along those lines. Do you guys have any federal candidates currently?
Not this year, no.
Yeah, we would consider the application for your state, but I can't promise. It would really depend. Like we have a formula that we're doing that really does require the state parties to kick ass, right? And so if the states are doing the typical libertarian thing, then it's very hard to sell that, right? Because donors know the more states like that aren't producing results in there, the less results we can produce overall, right? That said, the strategy itself reinforces itself through the forwarding mechanism. So if you don't have any candidates, you can still, through your forward share dynamics, support states that do. And that's really cool. It's a really great dynamic. And, I worry that your Wisconsin board would just find the whole thing to be a pain in the ass. Um, and they might not appreciate getting a bunch of money in and then having to send it to other states. So I could see that being a problem, but I'm willing to try. And if they would like to hear a presentation, I'm willing to try. That would at least be entertaining.
Sure, that's certainly a possibility. What the fuck? That's not mine. Um, However, with the recent resignation of Amanda Griffiths and some other, one other,
Oh,
not great individual, that opens the possibility up for us to fill those spots with better board members that might be more open to that.
wow. You mean you might have like a functional board?
I wouldn't go that far. A more
Okay.
functional board.
A more functional board. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like, if they can get behind the shared strategy that we're trying to do, if they can understand the idea of like you can't just have somebody run that's going to just be a bull in a cheap china shop, right? You need to know, are my donors that are most important to my state, are they are they wanting left pressure or right pressure? Do they want me to peel blue votes or red votes and where? Right? And the state party is in a unique position to make decisions about which races get funded and which ones don't. Right? So
Mhm.
it allows for a strategy that can let us tip the thing in one direction or another, right? So if one of our participants is like bucking that strategy or being doing again, donkey stuff, then that will put us in a position where it'll be harder for us to raise for the pipeline. Um, but that's kind of just so you understand the dynamic. I'm not saying no, but it doesn't seem likely that your state would be a good fit for it yet. That again, that could really change if your board composition is different. That's a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see. We can talk about it. But yeah, if you could just send me the presentation so I can look it over myself on my own time, that'd be
Now, I will
great.
tell you, some of our biggest critics of the LPHI, I should probably save this to the end, but I have it on good authority that some of our angry Kauai members think that it would be okay for me to put non-Hawaiians on the board. And I was surprised by this, but
Oh,
I
really?
just I just thought I'd throw it out. Yeah, Larry was telling me I should put Adam Jones on the board, and
You
there's,
should put Bryce Tone on the board.
I know I was just thinking, wow, my options are like opening up here. I could, there's a lot of yeah. Anyway, um, I'm joking. We can continue on. Orders of the day, Mr. Chair. Come to order, Mr. Chair. Um,
So does LPHI have all of the infrastructure still that we need to do this?
Yes, I believe we are ready to go. All we got to do is sign the agreement. If you guys instruct me to sign it, I will, but I would prefer that Mr. Zehr sign the agreement if that's not a conflict for him to do so. Um, since I am the administrator of the pipeline, it's best not to contract with myself, if that makes sense. All right. Cool. We can move forward. I will consider this matter closed for now, and we'll kick it to an email ballot. If somebody wants to get one going, we can do that. And I'll let other members take the lead on that. Um,
Oh,
so,
hey,
Mr.
Austin.
Zehr, yes,
Sorry, I was on mute.
you're
I'm
good.
going to get a second set of eyes on that. I think for the previous GFC you signed, I just want to make sure that I'm I'm good on my side for the Hatch Act. If I am, I'm more than happy to.
No problem. Absolutely. Not a problem at all. Um, and then yeah, I've also got a lawyer with the LFF that if you needed to ask a question, it's an FEC lawyer, not a Hatch Act lawyer. So I will note that. But if you have any questions, we do have the ability to get a professional legal answer.
That would be great.
Not a problem. In
Thanks.
fact, he's in my opinion, he's the best in the business. All right, cool. Um, Abra, you actually don't need to note that in the notes. Thank you for your detailed notes. Let's just not necessarily, add that for the minutes. Cool. The last item of business is a discussion on District 18 vacancy. If Ken Schooland were here, it would be a much better conversation. I wanted to find out if he's in District 18, but it would be really cool if we could name somebody for the Libertarian ticket in District 18. Um,
I
I've been wondering, does the candidate still have to live in District 18, or are we just able to make a nomination?
No, I believe residency is a requirement. I can double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case of all the districts. This is a special one because somebody uh, is basically
Got
stepping.
arrested for bribery?
I uh, I don't think I don't know. I don't think so. He stepped down anyway. And so this would be a very short term for anybody who wants to jump in. But if we can get a libertarian in, that would be ideal. They're going to draw randomly from the four different parties. So we
So
may,
it sounds like you could put anybody in.
what do you mean?
We need to get a name in that hat. We need to get a name in that hat. Is there any way we can get an answer as to the eligibility requirement here for the candidate? Thank you, Abra.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I like how they're just drawing candidates' names out of a hat this year, by the way.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
Hey, they kept
It's like
Kurt
gambling.
Favela. We won in Ava Beach. I told the GOP
No
that they
more
needed to keep
favela.
what?
No more favela.
No more favela, right? He was teaming up with Buenaventura to make homeschoolers submit to mandatory state abuse and curriculum checks. And
Ugh.
so I told him to repudiate that, turn about face, and I will not come against you in the next election. He chose to ignore me, so I chose to call the GOP and let them know that I was about to drop some serious money in Ava Beach, or even just show up myself and start knocking doors if they didn't put somebody competent to beat him on the ballot. And sure as shit, Bob McDermott shows up in that race. They ran their other electable incumbent against their other electable incumbent. So I was very satisfied. And then, at the end, they basically tied, and we had a hat draw, and we still won. So I feel like that was a good outcome.
It doesn't say what the specific requirements are. It says you have to go into the Office of Elections to get the paperwork for it.
Hold on a second. Let's see. Can you look up the Hawaii Revised Statute 17.3b3 that's referenced right there?
That's the vacancy statute.
Yeah. It will tell us probably whether or not it has to be from the same district. That or I'll grok it. Or I don't really likely to use grok. Uh, no, oh yeah, your thing's all out of date. That's why.
It's just yeah.
Is there anything we need to mobilize this year for election officers? Or like what we had to do last election? The memo with, I think, what it was, it like three of us with three alternates?
Oh, that was for the presidential.
Just presidential? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we have to do that this time.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that was a real pain. That was a
Yeah.
real pain.
You literally flew to Oahu to walk it to their office.
Yeah, they made me show up at Oahu, but I got Chase Oliver on the ballot. Okay. The term, let's see, the governor shall make an appointment within 60 calendar days. Appointee shall be at the time of appointment at least 6 months immediately after. Member, the appointee shall at the time of appointment be a resident. Was not a member of any political party, the governor shall within 60 days appoint a person. Appoint a person who is at the time of the appointment a resident of the same Senate district as the prior incumbent and who is not and has not been for 6 months prior to the appointment a member of any political party. In the case of a vacancy, the term which does not end at the next succeeding general election. Let's see.
Not a member of any political party.
See, the governor shall make.
Oh man, this could be Ken's retirement role.
Yep.
Ken or Lee would be really good for it.
Succeeding primary election, but not later than on the 60th day prior to the next succeeding primary election, or if there are no qualified candidates for any party or nonpartisan candidates qualified for the primary election ballot. Nominations for the unexpired term may. Could you scroll down just a little? Filed no later than 4:30 p.m. on the 50th day prior to the next succeeding primary election. Interesting. The governor shall make the appointment.
Be a resident of the same Senate district as the prior incumbent.
Yeah, so my guess is that it's a nonpartisan, and there is that what it is? I don't understand. This doesn't describe a situation where every party can submit an applicant. See, if there are no qualified candidates for any party, nonpartisan candidates in the party vacancy shall be filled. Chief elections officer shall issue a proclamation designating the election for filling the vacancy. Party candidates for the unexpired Senate term shall be nominated by the county committees of the parties not later than 4:30 p.m. on the 40th day prior to the general election. This is what I think we're doing here. Number 3. Yes, subsection 3. Nonpartisan candidates may file nomination papers. Okay, so this is the process. Party candidates. Where are we here? Hold on. Party candidates for the unexpired Senate term shall be nominated by the county committees of the parties not later than 4:30 p.m. on the 40th day prior to the general election. Nonpartisan candidates may file nomination papers for the unexpired term not later than 4:30 p.m. on the 40th day of the general prior to the general election, with the nonpartisan candidate who is to be nominated to be decided by lot under the supervision of the chief elections officer. The candidate for the unexpired term shall be elected in accordance with this title. I don't think it has a residency requirement. So 3 prospective appointees, the same political party as the prior incumbent. That's for the appointment. The appointee shall be, this is all about the appointee. Appointee shall at the time be a resident of the same. That's the appointee. That's not the candidate, though. Hold on. Subsection 3 says if there are no qualified candidates for any party or nonpartisan candidates in the primary, the vacancy shall be filled for the unexpired term at the next succeeding general election. The chief election officer shall issue a proclamation designating the election for filling the vacancy. That proclamation is what we need to see. Party candidates for the unexpired Senate term shall be nominated by the county committees of the parties not later than 4:30 p.m. on the 40th day prior to the general election. Nonpartisan candidates may file nomination papers for the unexpired term not later than 4:30 p.m. decided by lot. I don't see any residency requirement there. So if Ken doesn't want to do it, I'll do it.
Isn't this a temporary appointment to fill the vacancy, though? This isn't an actual.
No, the temporary vacancy would be to occupy the interim time before so the vacancy shall be filled. Here, look. The election. This is an election. It's an election by lot. So it's not an appointment. It stops talking about see, it says pending the election, the governor shall make a temporary appointment. And then it goes on to talk about the appointment.
Well, is the election supposed to take place before the actual elections do?
Yes, by lot, because this Senate race is not up for election. So there's still a year or two left in that term, right? Before the next turnover.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just a few months.
Yeah, no. That's why it's this section and not the sections above where it is a temporary appointment from the same political party until the election, right? This one, there is no qualified candidates on the ballot that could be nominated to take the seat. This provision is by lot.
This says it occurs after the 16th day prior to the next succeeding primary. Okay, so that would be the 2027 primary that it's referring to, I guess.
No, it's that the vacancy occurs too close to the primary for there to be a fix through the primary. Is I think what it's saying, because the prior section dealt with if it happens early enough before the primary. Now it's after the primary or too close to the primary, but still before the general, right? After the 60th day prior to the next succeeding primary, because then there wouldn't be enough time for the process to work before the primary, but not later than the 50th day prior to the next succeeding general election. So while there's still enough time to do this before the next election, or sorry, while there's not much time until the next election, there's not enough time to put someone on the candidate space and do that. I wonder. I'm already running for a seat, so I'm not 100% sure if I take it or not. But I think we need to put a name in this hat. Can we do this by email ballot?
Me why it's all in the same section.
I think if we do this by email ballot and nominations, right, we can nominate and then vote it in on behalf of the Honolulu County Party.
Yeah, well, we don't have anybody to motion for tonight.
No, what I was going to do is call for nominations.
Yeah, that's what I've already done.
Okay. Well, I'll start like an email ballot with a nomination, and I'll ask Ken if he'll accept it. If not, then maybe I'll ask one of you guys if you're willing to nominate me. All right. Unless anybody else wants it.
I think maybe we should just go get the paperwork and find out what it requires first.
Yeah, we can ask. That's smart.
It doesn't make sense where it wouldn't be in the district.
It's the only provision that doesn't say that. All the other ones specify in the district, and the appointment clause also says in the district, but the actual election by lot clause does not. Yeah, we definitely are going to have to find out before we actually act. An email ballot gives us time to act, but we don't have that much of a hurry. It's till September 4th, so we need to just make sure we have it underway by the 29th or the 30th. All right, cool. There's no other business on the agenda, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no further discussion on this item.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you guys very much. I will go ahead and cut the recording.